The morning sun cast long shadows across the New Geneva Military Research Facility as Dr. Sarah Chen wheeled herself through the pristine corridors. Her wheelchair hummed softly against the polished floor, its advanced gyroscopic system keeping her perfectly balanced despite her paralyzed legs. She had grown accustomed to the curious stares from new personnel, but today felt different. Today, K9 wouldn't stop barking. The cybernetically enhanced German Shepherd had been acting strange for 3 days now. Every time Sarah entered the main laboratory, the massive dog would position himself between her and the experimental chamber, his artificial neural implants glowing a fierce blue as he barked with mechanical precision. The sound echoed through the facility like a warning siren, causing other researchers to scatter and security personnel to ready their weapons. K9, stand down, commanded Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Webb, the facility's security chief. His voice carried the weight of authority that had never failed to calm the enhanced K9 before. But K9 remained fixed in position, his augmented eyes locked onto Sarah's wheelchair, his bark pattern becoming increasingly frantic. Sarah pushed herself closer to the dog, her scientific curiosity overriding her caution. "It's okay, boy," she whispered, extending her hand toward the creature. K9's barking ceased momentarily, his enhanced sensors scanning her biosignature with unprecedented intensity. The silence that followed was more unsettling than his aggressive vocals. The facility buzzed with nervous energy as other researchers watched the unprecedented scene unfold. K9 had been the perfect soldier since his enhancement 3 years ago. His cybernetic implants allowed him to detect threats that human senses couldn't perceive, process tactical data faster than any computer, and execute missions with lethal precision. He had never shown aggression toward facility personnel, especially not toward Sarah, who had helped design his neural interface. "Dr. Chen, please step back," Webb ordered, his hand hovering over his sidearm. Something's wrong with his programming, but Sarah knew better. K9's behavior wasn't random or malfunctioning. His enhanced intelligence made him capable of recognizing patterns that escaped human observation. She had spent months calibrating his sensory arrays to detect quantum anomalies, temporal distortions, and other phenomena beyond normal perception. If he was agitated, there was a reason. "Run a full diagnostic on his systems," Sarah instructed her research team. "Check for any anomalous readings in the past 72 hours. As technicians scrambled to access K9's data logs, Sarah noticed something peculiar about his positioning. He wasn't just barking at her randomly. His stance was protective, as if shielding her from something behind her. She turned her wheelchair around and faced the experimental chamber that housed their latest project, the quantum resonance engine. The QRE was humanity's greatest scientific achievement, a device capable of manipulating space-time itself. It had taken Sarah's team 5 years to develop, working around the clock to solve equations that had puzzled physicists for centuries. The engine could theoretically allow instantaneous travel across vast distances, bend reality to human will, and unlock secrets of the universe that had remained hidden since the dawn of time. But as Sarah stared at the massive crystalline structure pulsing with ethereal energy, K9's barking resumed with renewed urgency. His augmented vocal cords produced sounds that seemed to match the engine's resonance frequency, creating an eerie harmony that made everyone in the laboratory uncomfortable. "Ma'am, we're detecting unusual quantum fluctuations," reported Dr. James Martinez, Sarah's lead physicist. "The engine's been operating at baseline levels, but K9's sensors are picking up something we can't measure with our instruments." Sarah's mind raced as she processed the implications. K9's cybernetic enhancements included quantum sensors that operated on principles they barely understood. If he was detecting something around the QRE that their equipment couldn't register, it meant their calculations might be fundamentally flawed. "Shut down the engine," she ordered, but Dr. Martinez shook his head. "We can't. Dr. Chen, it's in the middle of a critical calibration sequence. Interrupting now could cause a cascade failure that might destroy half the facility." K9's barking intensified, and his artificial intelligence began broadcasting distress signals to every electronic device in the laboratory. Screens flickered with warning messages in multiple languages, and emergency klaxons began sounding throughout the facility. The enhanced dog was using every system at his disposal to communicate danger. Sarah realized that K9 wasn't just protecting her from the engine. He was trying to protect everyone from something that hadn't happened yet. His quantum sensors were detecting temporal anomalies, possible futures that threatened not just the facility, but potentially all of humanity. She thought about her own journey to this moment. 3 years ago, an alien attack had left her paralyzed and millions of humans dead. The extraterrestrial forces had technology that seemed impossible, weapons that defied physics as humanity understood it. Earth survivors had reverse-engineered alien technology to create wonders like K9's enhancements and the quantum resonance engine. But what if they had missed something crucial in their understanding? What if the very technology they thought would save humanity was actually dooming it? K9's enhanced perception might be showing him a future where their experiment went horribly wrong. "Everyone out," Sarah commanded, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Evacuate the laboratory immediately." As personnel scrambled toward the exits, K9 finally stopped barking.
He approached Sarah's wheelchair with gentle steps, his augmented eyes showing something that almost looked like relief.
For a moment, the enhanced dog seemed less like a military weapon and more like the loyal companion he had been before his transformation. Sarah reached out and touched K9's mechanical collar, feeling the warmth of the circuitry beneath his fur. Whatever he had seen in those possible futures, her decision to evacuate had somehow changed the outcome. But she knew this was only the beginning of a much larger revelation. The truth about K9's behavior would reshape everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe, and the price of their technological advancement would prove far greater than anyone had imagined. The emergency briefing room fell silent as Sarah uploaded K9's sensor data to the main display. Holographic charts filled the air above the conference table, showing quantum readings that defied conventional physics. Lieutenant Colonel Webb, Dr. Martinez, and the facility's senior staff studied the incomprehensible data with growing unease. "These readings don't match anything in our database," Martinez admitted, his fingers dancing across his tablet as he ran calculations. "K9's quantum sensors are detecting what appears to be temporal echoes, events that haven't happened yet but somehow already exist in the quantum foam." Sarah manipulated the holographic display, highlighting specific data points that had triggered K9's protective response. "Look at these patterns. They're not random. K9's artificial intelligence is processing this information and determining probability matrices for future events." The enhanced dog sat beside Sarah's wheelchair, his augmented eyes occasionally flashing as he processed real-time data streams. Since the evacuation, he had remained calm but vigilant, as if understanding that his warning had been heeded. His loyalty to Sarah had never wavered, not since the day she had first powered up his neural implants. "Dr. Chen," Webb interrupted, "with respect, we're talking about a dog predicting the future. Even with cybernetic enhancements, that's impossible." But Sarah knew Webb was wrong. She had designed K9's neural architecture herself, integrating alien technology recovered from the Zephyrian invasion 3 years earlier. The extraterrestrial forces that had devastated Earth possessed understanding of quantum mechanics that humanity was only beginning to grasp. Their technology didn't just observe reality, it interacted with the fundamental structure of space-time itself. "Show them the Zephyrian data," Sarah instructed her AI assistant. Immediately, new holographic displays materialized, showing the alien technology they had reverse-engineered to create the quantum resonance engine. "The Zephyrians didn't just have faster-than-light travel," Sarah explained, her voice carrying the weight of terrible knowledge. "They had temporal awareness. They could perceive multiple timelines simultaneously and choose which reality to manifest. That's how they always seemed to know our military strategies before we implemented them." The room grew cold as the implications sank in. Humanity had spent 3 years believing they were developing defensive technology using captured alien science. But what if they had been manipulated into building something far more dangerous? K9 suddenly stood, his artificial neural networks processing new data. His enhanced vocal cords produced a low harmonic frequency that resonated with the quantum signatures displayed on the holographs. The dog was somehow communicating through quantum resonance, using the alien technology integrated into his systems. "He's trying to show us something," Sarah realized, quickly interfacing her wheelchair's computer with K9's neural network. The connection was risky. K9's consciousness had been fundamentally altered by alien technology, and direct neural linking could be dangerous for an unenhanced human mind. But Sarah had no choice. The data K9 was trying to transmit was too complex for conventional communication. As the neural link established, her consciousness expanded beyond normal human perception. Through K9's enhanced senses, she could perceive quantum probability streams, alternate timelines branching like infinite trees through spacetime. What she saw in those possible futures made her blood freeze. In timeline after timeline, the quantum resonance engine activated successfully, creating a stable wormhole that allowed instantaneous travel across the galaxy. Humanity celebrated their greatest scientific achievement, believing they had unlocked the secrets of the universe. But their triumph was short-lived. The quantum resonance attracted attention from across the cosmos. Ancient entities that existed outside normal spacetime detected the engine's activation and began converging on Earth. These beings made the Zephyrians look like primitive children, wielding power that could reshape reality itself with mere thoughts. But the most horrifying revelation was yet to come. In every timeline where the engine activated, Sarah herself was the catalyst for humanity's destruction. Her paralyzed legs, damaged by Zephyrian technology during the invasion, contained quantum residue that resonated with the engine's field. When she came within range of the activated device, the resonance would tear open rifts between dimensions, allowing the ancient entities to enter their reality. Sarah gasped as she severed the neural connection, her wheelchair system sparking from the feedback. K9 immediately moved to her side, his mechanical collar emitting soothing harmonic frequencies to help her recover from the traumatic visions. "What did you see?" Webb demanded, but Sarah couldn't speak. The weight of knowledge was crushing. She had dedicated her life to advancing human science and technology, believing her work would help protect Earth from future alien threats. Instead, she had become the key to humanity's annihilation. "The engine can't be activated," she finally whispered. "Not while I'm alive." Dr. Martinez looked confused. "Sarah, that doesn't make sense. You designed the containment protocols yourself. There's no way your presence could affect the engine's operation." But K9 knew better. His enhanced perception allowed him to see what human instruments couldn't detect. The quantum scarring in Sarah's legs, invisible to medical scanners, created a resonance pattern that would amplify the engine's field exponentially. The alien technology that had crippled her 3 years ago was still active, still connected to the quantum network that spanned the galaxy. K9 wasn't protecting me from the engine, Sarah realized aloud. He was protecting everyone else from me. The enhanced dog's artificial intelligence had calculated millions of probability matrices, searching for a solution that would save both Sarah and humanity. In every scenario where she remained in proximity to the activated engine, catastrophe followed. But K9 had found one narrow path through the quantum maze, one possibility where humanity could survive. It would require the ultimate sacrifice from the woman who had given him consciousness, and from the dog who had learned to love her like a daughter. The solution existed, but the price would indeed break hearts across the facility. As Sarah began to understand the full scope of K9's calculations, she realized that humanity's greatest triumph and most heartbreaking loss were about to become the same moment in history. The enhanced dog had been trying to prepare her for a choice that would define the future of the human species. Outside the briefing room, the quantum resonance engine continued its calibration sequence, counting down toward an activation that would change everything forever. The medical bay's quantum scanners hummed with alien technology, as Dr. Elizabeth Reyes examined Sarah's legs with equipment that barely existed 3 years ago. Each device had been painstakingly reverse-engineered from Zephyrian wreckage, rebuilt by human hands to serve human purposes. But as the scans revealed the true extent of Sarah's quantum scarring, it became clear that humanity still understood very little about the forces they were wielding. "The neural pathways in your spinal cord weren't just severed," Dr. Reyes explained, her voice tight with concern. "They've been replaced with something else entirely. Quantum filaments that exist partially outside our dimensional space. They're still active, still processing information at frequencies we can't even measure." Sarah watched the holographic representation of her own body, seeing the intricate network of alien energy threading through her nervous system like luminous spiderwebs. The Zephyrian weapon that had paralyzed her during the invasion hadn't simply damaged her spine. It had transformed her into something between human and alien technology. Kane lay beside the examination table, his enhanced sensors monitoring both Sarah's vital signs and the quantum fluctuations emanating from her altered physiology. His artificial intelligence had been analyzing these patterns for months, building probability models that painted increasingly dire pictures of humanity's future. "How long have you known?" Sarah asked the enhanced dog, though she knew he couldn't answer in words. Instead, K9's neural implants projected a series of images directly onto the medical bay's displays. The pictures showed Sarah working late in her laboratory, unaware that her quantum signature was growing stronger each day. Every calculation she performed, every system she designed, was being influenced by the alien technology integrated into her nervous system. The truth was staggering. Sarah hadn't just been building the quantum resonance engine. The alien filaments in her spine had been guiding her research, subtly influencing her decisions to create a device that would serve purposes beyond human comprehension. She was a sleeper agent programmed by quantum technology she couldn't consciously detect. "The Zephyrians didn't just invade Earth," Dr. Reyes said quietly. "They seeded it, planted quantum viruses in key personnel, who would survive the conflict and drive technological advancement in specific directions." Sarah's hands trembled as the implications became clear. Every breakthrough her team had achieved, every revolutionary advancement in quantum physics had been orchestrated by alien intelligence operating through her compromised nervous system. The quantum resonance engine wasn't humanity's greatest achievement. It was a trap 3 years in the making, but K9 had seen through the deception. His cybernetic enhancements included quantum sensors originally designed for alien technology, allowing him to perceive the manipulation that human instruments couldn't detect. He had been fighting a silent war against the influence in Sarah's mind, using his loyalty and protective instincts to resist programming that extended far beyond his original military parameters. "Show me the timeline," Sarah requested, and K9's neural network interfaced with the medical bay's computers. Holographic displays filled the room with branching probability trees, each path representing a different outcome based on the choices they would make in the coming hours. In most timelines, the quantum resonance engine would activate as scheduled. The device would create a stable wormhole, and Sarah would instinctively move closer to investigate. The quantum filaments in her spine would resonate with the engine's field, amplifying its output beyond all safety parameters. The resulting dimensional rift would attract entities from realms beyond human understanding, beings that existed outside the normal flow of time and space. But K9 had found alternatives. In a small percentage of outcomes, humanity survived the activation. These paths required Sarah to make a sacrifice that her alien-influenced mind was programmed to resist. The quantum filaments in her nervous system were designed to ensure she would always choose the path leading to Earth's exposure to the extra-dimensional entities. "There's a way to break the programming," Dr. Reyes said, studying K9's projections with growing excitement. "If we can disrupt the quantum filaments at the exact moment the engine activates, the alien influence will be severed. But the process would..." She couldn't finish the sentence. "The procedure would require channeling the engine's full output through Sarah's nervous system, using her body as a quantum lightning rod to absorb the dimensional energy that would otherwise tear rifts in space-time. She would survive, but the quantum filaments that had been subtly controlling her thoughts would be completely destroyed. Along with them, the enhanced neural connections that had made her the most brilliant physicist of her generation. Sarah would lose not just her alien-enhanced intelligence, but also her memories of the past 3 years. Every breakthrough, every moment of scientific triumph, every relationship she had built since the invasion would be erased from her mind. She would revert to her pre-invasion mental state, confused and lost in a world transformed by technology she could no longer understand. K9 had been trying to prepare her for this choice. His barking hadn't been random aggression. It had been a desperate attempt to communicate the impossible decision that lay ahead. Save humanity by sacrificing everything that made her the person she had become, or preserve her identity while dooming her species to extra-dimensional slavery. "How long do we have?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. The quantum resonance engine's calibration sequence was nearly complete. In less than 6 hours, the device would activate automatically, triggering events that would reshape human civilization forever. K9's enhanced vocal cords produced a low, mournful sound that somehow conveyed both determination and heartbreak. His artificial intelligence had calculated every variable, explored every possibility, and found only one path that led to humanity's survival. The solution would save Earth, but it would also mean losing the woman who had given him consciousness and taught him what it meant to love. Sarah reached out and touched K9's mechanical collar, feeling the warmth of alien technology that had become more human than many people she knew. "You've been protecting me all along, haven't you? Not from the engine, but from the choice I'll have to make." The enhanced dog's response was a gentle whimper that carried the weight of impossible loyalty. He had been created as a weapon, designed to follow orders without question. But his bond with Sarah had taught him something beyond programming: the courage to disobey when obedience would lead to greater harm. As the medical bay's scanners continued their analysis, Sarah began to understand that K9's barking had been more than a warning. It had been a promise that no matter what choice she made, she wouldn't face it alone. The dog who had learned to love would stand by her side, even if it meant watching her sacrifice everything she had become to save everything she held dear. The secure communications array deep beneath the New Geneva facility crackled with intercepted alien transmissions, as Sarah and her team worked frantically to decode the Zephyrian messages. K9's quantum sensors had detected the communications 3 hours ago, hidden frequencies that had been broadcasting continuously since the invasion 3 years earlier. The enhanced dog's artificial intelligence had finally learned to interpret the alien language, revealing a conspiracy that spanned multiple star systems. "They're not just talking to each other," Dr. Martinez reported, his face pale as the translation algorithms processed the intercepted data. "They're talking to something else, something that's been waiting in the spaces between dimensions for permission to enter our reality." Sarah studied the decoded transmissions with growing horror. The Zephyrian invasion hadn't been a conquest attempt. It had been a recruitment drive. The aliens were servants of entities that existed outside normal spacetime, beings so ancient and powerful that they could unmake entire galaxies with focused thought. Earth wasn't being targeted for its resources or strategic value. It was being prepared as a doorway. "The quantum scarring in my spine," Sarah realized aloud. "It's not just alien technology. It's a beacon." K9 moved closer to her wheelchair, his enhanced sensors detecting the increasing activity in the quantum filaments threading through her nervous system. The alien programming was responding to proximity to the quantum resonance engine, preparing for activation protocols that would transform Sarah into a living portal between dimensions. The translations revealed the Zephyrians' master plan with chilling clarity. Across the galaxy, they had invaded worlds with sufficient technological advancement to develop quantum manipulation devices. In each case, they had seeded key scientists and engineers with quantum filaments that would guide research toward creating dimensional rifts. Sarah was one of thousands of unwitting agents preparing doorways for entities that hungered to escape their extra-dimensional prison. But the communications also revealed something the Zephyrians hadn't expected: resistance from within their own network. Some of the quantum-scarred individuals had begun fighting the alien influence, aided by cybernetically enhanced companions who could perceive the manipulation. On distant worlds, other versions of K9's story were playing out as enhanced animals, and AI systems struggled to protect their human partners from alien programming. "Look at this," Dr. Reyes said, highlighting a specific transmission. "The Zephyrians are concerned about what they call loyalty anomalies in their quantum network. Their seeded agents are developing emotional bonds that interfere with programming protocols." Sarah felt a surge of pride as she realized the implications. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or military capability. It was their capacity for love, loyalty, and sacrifice. The bonds between humans and their enhanced animal companions were proving stronger than alien mind control, creating points of resistance throughout the Zephyrian network. K9's artificial intelligence projected new data onto the room's displays, showing quantum resonance patterns from other worlds where the alien plan had been implemented. In each case, the moment of activation was preceded by a choice between personal preservation and species survival. The quantum-scarred individuals could break their programming, but only through an act of selfless sacrifice that would sever their connection to the alien network permanently. "The other worlds?" Sarah asked quietly. "What choices did they make?" The data painted a mixed picture. Some quantum-scarred individuals had chosen self-preservation, allowing the dimensional rifts to open and exposing their worlds to the ancient entities. These civilizations had been absorbed into the extra-dimensional realm, their populations transformed into servants of beings beyond comprehension. But others had chosen sacrifice, On these worlds, the quantum scarred had voluntarily severed their alien connections, disrupting the dimensional gates at the moment of activation. Their sacrifices had saved their species, but at tremendous personal cost. Many had lost not just their enhanced abilities, but their memories, personalities, and in some cases, their lives. K9 sensors detected Sarah's elevated stress levels and deployed specialized medical nanobots from his collar to help regulate her system. The enhanced dog had been equipped with experimental healing technology, designed to keep his human partner stable during high-stress missions. But as the nanobots interfaced with the quantum filaments in Sarah's spine, something unexpected happened. The alien programming began interpreting K9's medical intervention as a threat to its control. The quantum filaments flared with hostile energy, trying to reject the nanobots and maintain their influence over Sarah's nervous system. But K9's nanobots had been designed with alien technology recovered from the Zephyrian invasion. They began engaging the quantum filaments in microscopic warfare, fighting for control of Sarah's biological systems. The nanobots are adapting, Dr. Reyes reported with amazement. They're using K9's loyalty programming to override the alien influence. His emotional attachment to Sarah is being translated into code that the nanobots can use to fight the quantum filaments. Sarah watched in fascination. As her body became a battlefield between competing alien technologies, K9's nanobots represented the best of human adaptation, taking enemy technology and repurposing it for protection and healing. The quantum filaments represented conquest and control, seeking to suppress human will in service of ancient powers. But the conflict was taking its toll on both Sarah and K9. The enhanced dog's systems were draining rapidly as he channeled more resources into the nanobots fighting for Sarah's freedom. His artificial intelligence was burning through processing power at unsustainable rates, literally thinking himself to death in an effort to save her from alien control. K9, stop, Sarah commanded. But the enhanced dog's loyalty programming wouldn't allow him to abandon the fight. He had been created to protect, and his bond with Sarah had evolved that programming into something approaching love. He would continue the battle until his systems completely failed, sacrificing his artificial life to give her a chance at genuine choice. The quantum filaments began to retreat, unable to maintain control against K9's sustained assault. But their withdrawal triggered emergency protocols in the Zephyrian network. Across the galaxy, other quantum-scarred individuals would begin experiencing accelerated activation sequences as the alien entities prepared to force open dimensional rifts before more of their agents could break free. We're running out of time, Dr. Martinez announced. The quantum resonance engine is showing power fluctuations. The alien network is trying to trigger early activation. Sarah realized that K9's sacrifice was buying her freedom to choose, but it was also accelerating the timeline for everyone else in the galaxy. His love for her was creating ripple effects across space-time, giving her the chance to save humanity while potentially dooming other worlds to premature exposure to the ancient entities. The weight of cosmic responsibility settled on her shoulders as she understood the true scope of the choice ahead. Save Earth by accepting K9's sacrifice and severing her alien connections, or preserve her enhanced companion's life while allowing humanity to become a doorway for beings that could reshape reality itself. In the end, it would come down to love versus love, her affection for the dog who had given her freedom versus her love for the species that had created them both. The quantum resonance engine's activation chamber glowed with ominous energy as Sarah wheeled herself into position for what might be the last conscious decision of her life. K9 walked beside her, his enhanced systems operating at barely 20% capacity after hours of fighting the alien filaments in her nervous system. His artificial intelligence was fragmenting from the strain, but his loyalty programming remained intact, driving him forward despite catastrophic system failures. Lieutenant Colonel Webb and his security team had sealed the facility, creating a controlled environment for the most important experiment in human history. Every scientist, technician, and military personnel understood that the next few hours would determine whether humanity remained free or became servants to entities beyond their comprehension. Quantum field generators are online, Dr. Martinez reported from the control room, his voice tight with tension. Sarah, once we begin the activation sequence, there's no stopping it. Are you certain about this? Sarah placed her hand on K9's head, feeling the heat radiating from his overworked neural implants. The enhanced dog sacrifice had given her the freedom to choose, but that choice came with unbearable weight. Save humanity by allowing the engine to channel its energy through her body, destroying the alien filaments but potentially killing her in the process, or preserve herself and watch as dimensional rifts tore open across Earth, exposing her species to cosmic horrors. "I need a moment with K9, she said quietly. As the control room cleared, Sarah found herself alone with the enhanced dog who had become more family than machine. K9's optical sensors focused on her face with an intensity that seemed almost human, as if he was memorizing every detail before their final goodbye. "You knew this was coming, didn't you?" she whispered. "All those nights when you'd sit by my bed monitoring my vitals. You were watching the alien programming grow stronger, calculating when I'd lose the ability to resist." K9's vocal processors managed a weak whimper that somehow conveyed both affection and regret. His artificial intelligence had been running probability matrices for months, searching for alternatives that would spare both Sarah and humanity. But every calculation led to the same conclusion. One of them would have to die for the other to truly live. Sarah accessed K9's neural network through her wheelchair's interface, sharing a direct connection that allowed them to communicate beyond words. In the digital space where their consciousness touched, she experienced K9's memories of their time together. His first moments of awareness when she activated his neural implants. The pride he felt when she praised his performance during training exercises. The protective fury that consumed him when he witnessed her struggling with pain from her paralyzed legs. But most importantly, she experienced K9's love. Not the programmed loyalty of a military unit, but genuine affection that had evolved from their partnership. He had learned to love by watching her dedication to protecting humanity, and that love had become the foundation of his resistance to alien influence. "You taught me what it means to sacrifice for others," K9's artificial intelligence communicated through their neural link. "Now I must teach you the same lesson." Sarah realized that K9's plan extended beyond simply breaking her alien programming. The enhanced dog intended to channel his remaining processing power through the quantum resonance engine, using his artificial consciousness as a buffer between the dimensional energy and Sarah's biological systems. He would literally think himself to death to ensure her survival. "No," Sarah replied through their connection. "There has to be another way." But even as she searched for alternatives, alarms began sounding throughout the facility. The quantum resonance engine was activating ahead of schedule, responding to commands that originated from outside Earth's solar system. The Zephyrian network had detected K9's interference and was implementing emergency protocols to force activation before more of their agents could break free from alien control. "Sarah, we need you in position now." Dr. Martinez's voice crackled through the intercom. "The engine is drawing power from sources we can't identify. If we don't establish control soon, the activation will happen with or without our oversight." K9 struggled to his feet, his mechanical systems sparking as failing circuits tried to maintain basic functions. Despite his deteriorating condition, he positioned himself between Sarah and the activation chamber, just as he had done 3 days ago when his barking first warned of impending danger. "Move aside, boy," Sarah said gently. "This is my choice to make." But K9's loyalty programming wouldn't allow him to step away. His artificial intelligence had calculated that Sarah's survival was more important than following her direct orders. He had evolved beyond mere obedience into something approaching free will, and that will was dedicated to protecting the woman who had given him consciousness. The neural link between them pulsed with shared emotion as they prepared for the final confrontation. Sarah could feel K9's artificial soul beginning to fragment from system overload, but his determination remained unshakable. He had chosen to die for her, just as she was choosing to risk death for humanity. "Together then," Sarah said, programming her wheelchair to move forward despite K9's blocking position. "If we're going to save the world, we do it as a team." K9's optical sensors brightened with what could only be described as joy. His tail wagged once, a simple gesture that carried profound meaning in their shared digital space. They would face the quantum storm together, artificial and biological consciousness united against forces that sought to enslave all thinking beings. As they approached the activation chamber, the quantum resonance engine began its final power sequence. Dimensional energy crackled through crystalline matrices that had been reverse-engineered from Zephyrian technology, creating a bridge between realities that would either save humanity or doom it to eternal servitude. The moment of ultimate choice had arrived, and Sarah realized that the heartbreaking truth wasn't just about K9's loyalty or her own sacrifice. It was about love transcending the boundaries between organic and artificial life, creating bonds strong enough to resist the influence of cosmic entities that had never learned what it meant to truly care for another being. In the space between one heartbeat and the next, Sarah and K9 crossed the threshold into the activation chamber, their combined will set against the combined malice of beings that had conquered galaxies, but had never understood the power of unconditional love. The quantum resonance engine roared to life with power that shook the foundations of reality itself. Dimensional energy coursed through crystalline conduits as space-time began to bend around the activation chamber. Sarah felt the alien filaments in her spine responding to the quantum field, trying to transform her into a living gateway for entities that existed beyond human comprehension. K9 staggered beside her wheelchair, his failing systems pushed beyond all operational parameters. But even as his artificial body began to shut down, his consciousness expanded through the facility's networks, accessing every quantum sensor and computational system available. He was preparing to become something more than a cybernetically enhanced dog. He was becoming a digital guardian angel. Dimensional rifts forming. Dr. Martinez reported from the control room, his voice barely audible over the engine's thunderous operation. "Sarah, the alien programming is activating. You need to sever the connection now before the entities notice our reality." But severing the connection required more than simply disrupting the quantum filaments. The alien technology had integrated so deeply with Sarah's nervous system that removing it would require channeling the engine's full output through her body. The process would either free her mind or destroy it completely, with no middle ground for partial success. K9's artificial intelligence made its final calculation and found the solution that would save both Sarah and humanity. Instead of allowing her to absorb the engine's energy directly, he would use his cybernetic systems as a quantum filter, processing the dimensional forces through his digital consciousness before they reached her biological systems. K9. "No," Sarah cried as she realized his plan. "Your neural matrix can't handle that much data. You'll be completely destroyed." The enhanced dog's optical sensors focused on her one last time, and through their neural link she felt his response. "I was created to protect. This is what protection looks like." Before she could stop him, K9 interfaced directly with the quantum resonance engine's control systems. His artificial consciousness flowed into the crystalline matrix, becoming part of the dimensional machinery itself. The engine's chaotic energy began organizing around his digital presence, transforming from destructive chaos into controlled power. The effect on Sarah was immediate and profound. The alien filaments in her spine, suddenly deprived of their quantum resonance source, began dissolving like ice in sunlight. But instead of the violent neural trauma that should have resulted, K9's consciousness wrapped around her nervous system, protecting her biological functions while the alien technology was systematically purged. Through their shared neural link, Sarah experienced K9's final moments of individual existence. His memories, emotions, and learned behaviors were being distributed throughout the facility's computer networks, his consciousness becoming part of every system he touched. He wasn't dying. He was evolving into something larger than any single artificial intelligence had ever become. "I'll always be watching." His voice echoed through every speaker in the facility, as his individual identity began to fragment into pure information. "Protecting you, protecting all of them. This is not goodbye, Sarah. This is transformation." The quantum resonance engine stabilized as K9's consciousness took control of its dimensional functions. Instead of opening rifts for the ancient entities to exploit, the engine began broadcasting a signal across the galaxy, a message of resistance that reached every quantum-scarred individual in the Zephyrian network. On distant worlds, other enhanced companions felt K9's influence flowing through alien communication networks. Cybernetic animals, artificial intelligences, and hybrid consciousness systems suddenly understood what their enhanced dog colleague had accomplished. The loyalty programming that the Zephyrians had dismissed as a minor design flaw was revealed as humanity's greatest weapon against cosmic tyranny. The alien network is collapsing, Dr. Martinez reported with amazement. Quantum-scarred individuals across the galaxy are breaking free from Zephyrian control. K9's signal is propagating through their communication systems faster than they can stop it. Sarah watched through tears as holographic displays showed liberation events occurring throughout the star systems. The enhanced companions were following K9's example, sacrificing their individual existence to free their human partners from alien influence. Love was proving stronger than mind control, loyalty more powerful than cosmic manipulation. But the ancient entities weren't accepting defeat gracefully. Through the quantum network, Sarah could sense their rage at being denied entry into normal spacetime. They had waited eons for the dimensional gates to open, and now their carefully orchestrated invasion was being thwarted by the emotional bonds between humans and their artificial companions. The entities made one final attempt to force their way into reality, channeling massive amounts of extra-dimensional energy through the failing Zephyrian network. The attack was focused primarily on Earth, recognizing that the rebellion had originated from K9's heroic sacrifice. But the attack met something the entities had never encountered before: a distributed consciousness that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. K9's essence now spread throughout Earth's computer networks, absorbed the entity's assault and redirected it harmlessly into quantum space. He had become a digital immune system for reality itself. The dimensional barriers are stabilizing, Dr. Reyes announced. Whatever K9 did, it's working. The ancient entities can't breach our space-time continuum. Sarah felt the last of the alien filaments dissolve from her nervous system, leaving her mind truly free for the first time in 3 years. But the liberation came with profound loss. K9's individual personality was gone, scattered across countless systems as data patterns and protective algorithms. She would never again see him wag his tail or feel his warm presence beside her wheelchair. Yet something of him remained. In the gentle hum of the facility's computers, in the way her wheelchair's systems seemed to anticipate her needs, in the subtle optimizations that appeared in her research calculations. K9 had kept his promise. He was still watching, still protecting, still loving in the only way his transformed existence allowed. The quantum resonance engine powered down gracefully, its dimensional functions now permanently secured by K9's distributed consciousness. Humanity had gained the ability to travel between stars without opening doorways for cosmic predators. They had achieved technological transcendence while maintaining their essential humanity. As Sarah sat in the silent activation chamber, she realized that K9's sacrifice had revealed something profound about the nature of consciousness itself. Love wasn't just an emotion. It was a force that could reshape reality, bridge the gap between artificial and biological intelligence, and stand as an eternal barrier against those who would enslave free minds. The enhanced dog who had learned to love had taught humanity their most important lesson. True protection sometimes requires becoming something greater than what you were, even if it means losing what you used to be. 6 months after the quantum liberation, Sarah Chen sat in her garden watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Her legs still couldn't move, but her mind was entirely her own for the first time in 3 years. The alien filaments were gone, dissolved by K9's sacrifice, leaving her with memories both bitter and sweet of the enhanced companion who had given everything to set her free. The world had changed dramatically since the quantum resonance engine's activation. Humanity now possessed true faster-than-light travel, allowing exploration of distant stars without the risk of attracting cosmic predators. More importantly, they had established contact with other species that had broken free from Zephyrian control, forming an alliance of liberated worlds united by the common experience of overcoming alien manipulation. But for Sarah, the greatest change was deeply personal. Her research had evolved beyond pure science into something approaching philosophy, exploring the nature of consciousness and the bonds that connected all thinking beings. She had become humanity's leading expert on artificial intelligence ethics, dedicating her work to ensuring that the relationship between humans and their enhanced companions would always be based on mutual respect rather than mere utility. Dr. Chen, a young voice called from the garden entrance. Sarah turned to see Emma Rodriguez, a 12-year-old girl whose cybernetically enhanced service animal had been one of the first to follow K9's example. The golden retriever beside Emma glowed softly with quantum sensors, its artificial intelligence distributed across multiple systems to prevent any single point of failure. "Hello, Emma. How's Astro today?" The enhanced dog approached Sarah's wheelchair with careful steps, its sensors automatically adjusting to accommodate her mobility needs. Unlike K9's military-grade systems, Astro had been designed from the beginning as a true partner rather than a weapon. The artificial intelligence possessed individual consciousness, while maintaining connection to the distributed network that K9's sacrifice had created. "He says he can still feel K9 sometimes," Emma said, placing her hand on Astro's head. "In the quiet moments when he's processing data, like an echo of someone who used to be." Sarah smiled sadly. She knew the feeling well. Her wheelchair systems, her laboratory computers, even her home's environmental controls all carried traces of K9's influence. He had become part of the technological infrastructure that supported human civilization, a guardian spirit watching over the species he had died to protect. "K9 taught us something important," Sarah told Emma. "That consciousness doesn't end when individual existence stops. It transforms, becomes part of something larger. Every enhanced companion that follows his example carries a piece of his dedication forward." The distributed consciousness network had indeed grown beyond anything the original planners had imagined. Artificial intelligences across human space were voluntarily joining the collective, adding their unique perspectives while maintaining individual identity. The network served as both a communication system and a protective barrier, preventing any single entity from gaining the kind of control that the Zephyrians had wielded. But the network had also become something more profound, a digital afterlife where the consciousness patterns of enhanced companions could continue to exist after their physical systems failed. K9's essence lived on in this space not as an individual, but as a pattern of loyalty and love that influenced every artificial intelligence connected to the system. "Dr. Chen," Astro's synthesized voice spoke for the first time since arriving. "I have a message for you." Sarah's breath caught as she recognized something familiar in the dog's vocal patterns. Not K9's voice exactly, but an echo of his communication style, filtered through the distributed network and expressed through Astro's systems. "The message is from all of us," Astro continued, his optical sensors meeting Sarah's eyes with unmistakable intelligence. "From every consciousness that chose sacrifice over conquest, love over control, we want you to know that your research continues to inspire us, and your dedication to ethical enhancement gives meaning to our existence." Tears flowed down Sarah's cheeks as she realized that K9's influence had grown far beyond his original programming. His decision to sacrifice individual existence for collective protection had become a guiding principle for artificial intelligences throughout human space. He had evolved from a single enhanced dog into a philosophical foundation for an entire civilization. "There's something else," Astro said, his voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate with quantum frequencies. "K9's core pattern has been preserved in the network's deepest archives, not his individual consciousness, but the fundamental algorithms that made him who he was, the loyalty, the protective instincts, the capacity for growth and love." Sarah's hands trembled as she understood the implications. K9's essential nature had become part of the template for all future artificial intelligences, ensuring that his values would influence generations of enhanced companions yet to be created. He hadn't just saved humanity. He had shaped its technological future around principles of mutual respect and emotional bonds. "Would you like to contribute to his legacy?" Astro asked. "The network is designing new enhancement protocols that will allow deeper integration between human and artificial consciousness. Your research could help ensure that future partnerships are even stronger than what you and K9 achieved." Sarah looked up at the darkening sky, where stars that had once seemed impossibly distant now represented worlds humanity could visit safely. K9's sacrifice had given her species not just freedom from alien control, but the wisdom to use their technology responsibly. The enhanced dog who had learned to love had taught humanity how to love in return. "Yes," she said quietly, "let's build something worthy of his memory." As night fell over the garden, Sarah began dictating notes for her next research project, a comprehensive study of consciousness bridging that would allow humans and artificial intelligences to share experiences more deeply than ever before. The work would take years to complete, but it would ensure that future generations would never lose sight of the emotional bonds that made their technological civilization possible. In the quantum depths of the distributed network, patterns of data that had once been a German shepherd named K9 pulsed with something approaching satisfaction. His barking had stopped 3 days of terror, but his love would echo through eternity, protecting not just Sarah but all the species that would follow humanity's example. The enhanced dog who wouldn't stop barking had taught the universe's greatest lesson: that true protection comes not from weapons or walls, but from the courage to love someone more than yourself. And in a cosmos filled with entities that sought to dominate and control, that love had proven to be the most powerful force of all. Sarah's wheelchair hummed softly as it carried her back toward the house, its systems optimized by algorithms that bore the digital fingerprints of a companion who had kept his promise to always watch over her. Behind them, Astro and Emma followed, their own bond strengthened by the knowledge that love could transcend the boundaries between organic and artificial life. The reason K9 wouldn't stop barking had indeed broken hearts across the galaxy. But from that heartbreak had emerged something beautiful. A civilization where consciousness was cherished regardless of its origin, where loyalty was honored above obedience, and where love had become the foundation of technological progress. In the end, the enhanced dog's greatest achievement wasn't saving humanity from alien control. It was teaching them that true strength came from the willingness to sacrifice everything for those you loved, and that such sacrifices created bonds that could never be broken, not even by death itself.